So for anybody wanting to know how to get into doing push-ups and improve the amount of push-ups you're doing, you need to watch this video. Hey guys, Mark McKill here once again with Live Anabolic. And today we're going to be talking about push-ups. I'm actually going to take you through a progression on how to start doing push-ups if you're a total beginner. And we're going to go from the easiest way to do a push-up to the most difficult way. And guys, I get it. It can be really hard, especially for beginners that are overweight. Because if I was carrying an extra 50, 60 pounds on me, all right, of body fat, it would kick my ass trying to do push-ups. So I feel your pain, all right? So for anybody wanting to know how to get into doing push-ups and improve the amount of push-ups you're doing, you need to watch this video, okay? But before I get to the push-ups, I just want to remind you guys about a free resource we'll give you. It's a Facebook group, okay? I'm the moderator. I'm in that group every day. You know, I'm there answering questions and posting videos, and it's great. Even if you're not a Facebook fan, I'm not either. You need to join, create an account. You don't even have to use your own name. You don't have to post any pictures. Just absorb all the good energy from all the guys. Well, I think we're pushing close to 20,000 men around the world. So it's a bunch of guys just like you and me. Everybody's over probably the age of 50. And it's not just workout stuff. It's nutrition, it's injuries, it's funny stuff, okay? We have a great time in there. So click the link below and join the Facebook group. I promise you won't regret it. Okay, so before I get on the ground and shoot the rest of this video down on the floor in a nearly horizontal position, I want to just explain some real simple physics, okay? So when we're doing traditional push-ups, you know, you're on your toes and you're on your hands, and your body's horizontal, okay? If this is your head and this is your feet down here, you know, when you're pushing, okay, your chest, your triceps, your shoulders, okay, and to a lesser extent, your lats, are lifting most of your body weight. Now, your feet are supporting some of your body weight too, but a lot of your body weight is up here, and it's, so basically you're lifting a lot of your own weight, okay? So once again, if you're way overweight, man, it's much harder for you guys already, all right? Even if you're already strong, it's going to be harder for you to do a push-up. So if this is your head and this is your feet, if we can change the physics a little bit and do elevated push-ups, meaning our head is higher than our feet, now we've transferred a lot of the weight, your body weight, down here to your feet. And we've taken some of it off of your shoulders and your chest up here when you do your push-ups, all right? And the steeper we get, the more of your body weight is transferred down to your feet, and the less, a smaller percentage of that body weight is up here, you know, on your chest and arms. So that's how you make push-ups easier, guys. Just generally speaking, you push up in a position where your hands and your head are elevated higher than your feet. And the higher they get than your feet, the easier the push-up becomes. All right, so I'm going to get out on the ground now. We're going to spend the rest of this video down here. So I know these things are really hard for a lot of beginners, and that's because I get gazillions of emails and tons of comments on our Facebook group, okay, and on our YouTube channel and direct emails and stuff like that. So before I get into doing elevated push-ups, and in this case, I'm going to use the couch as a way to elevate my head and my arms. I want to show you the easiest way to do push-ups if you're a total beginner, and especially for you guys that are overweight. And that is on your knees, okay? So, traditional push-up, boom. I'm on my feet, and I'm on my hands, and I got a nice straight torso here, all right? And, you know, I'm going down and up. But a lot of my body weight is being carried by my arms and chest, okay, right now. But what happens if I go to my knees? All right, just do that, guys. Just do this and you can feel the difference. So go from a push-up position, which is also a plank position, okay? So go from here to just there. And you can immediately feel how much weight has been taken off of your arms, okay? Now, a lot of guys, when they do push-ups on their knees, okay, because that's a good way to start as a beginner, especially if you're overweight, they make this mistake. When I'm doing a regular push-up, I'm like this. See where my hands are relative to my shoulders and my head? My hands are pretty much straight below my eyes, all right? And then I go down and up. Now, when I get on my knees, if I keep my hands right here, directly below my eyes, when I go down to do the push-up, watch what happens. See how my head goes way out in front of my hands and then comes back? All right, we've changed the pivot point from our feet to our knees, and it screws up the geometry of the push-up, and it actually makes it pretty hard. So when I start in this position with my hands right under my eyes, like I normally would in a traditional push-up, and I go down, my head goes way out in front, and it puts a ton of your body weight on your triceps. We don't want that, all right? So this is the simple thing you need to do when you're doing push-ups on your knees. All right, here I am. I want you to walk your hands out in front of your head. All right, see how much further they are? They're not directly under my eyes anymore. They're about 12 inches out in front of me. Now watch what happens when I do my push-up. Boom. So at the bottom of the push-up right here, this is where I would be if I was up on my toes. See my toes here? Go down to my knees. Boom. So you get a lot more leverage. It makes it a lot easier. So for you guys that are doing push-ups on your knees because it's easier, you gotta know that little trick about your hand placement at the beginning of the movement. Now, that is much easier to do than the traditional push-up when I'm up on my toes. But some guys are going to have a hard time doing that too. I mean, I weigh about 195 pounds. If I weighed 300 pounds, because of extra body fat, that would kick my ass, okay? So this is even easier, all right? So we're going to do is we're going to go to the elevated technique that I talked about earlier. So we're going to use physics to make the push-up easier, and we're going to do them on our knees. So I'm going to use this couch to elevate my hands and my head and my upper body above my feet. So if I was just doing a regular old elevated push-up, okay, so here I am nice and straight, I'm on my feet, and I go down and up. That is easier than doing them completely horizontal, but still, that's not real easy, all right? Let's do them like I want you beginners to do, okay? Now, you're gonna be doing on your knees, elevated up here. So, once again, my hands are way out kind of in front of my head because I'm doing them on my knees. And when I go down, I end up in this position. So my hands are basically in line with my chest at the bottom of the movement. So that's the easiest way to do a push-up if you're a beginner. And then, you still have the option of getting even more vertical, okay? You can find something that's taller, okay, than your couch. You can even do them up against a wall if you need to. If you need to get really steep to take a lot of that weight off of your upper body. Now, that's the beginner way, all right? Let's go back to a situation where you've been doing this maybe for 2 or 3 months. You've gotten a lot stronger. You might have lost some body fat. So this is getting easy. And when I say easy, I'm talking about you can do 12 to 15, okay? Now it's time, to ramp things up. So you can go from on your knees elevated to on your knees on the floor, like I showed you initially. That would be slightly harder. So when you can do them on your knees on the floor, you say, okay, I can do 15 of those now. Now it's time to graduate into the traditional push-up, all right? So let me give you a couple things to think about on a traditional push-up, guys. So, boom. on my toes. You know, a lot of guys, you'll see them do this. They'll stick their butt way up in the air. That'll actually make the push-up harder, all right, than if you're doing it, you know, down here in a straight line. And the other thing is some guys will sag, and they just do these little baby push-ups. So try to basically keep your body nice and straight. And if you're pointing your fingers straight ahead, that'll help get your elbows, your arms, and your shoulder joints in the proper alignment for when you go down. And this is what I want you to notice. So I want my cameraman, when I do this, to stand up and kind of shoot down on me, because I'm going to be talking about some angles with my elbows, okay? So here we are. We're doing a traditional push-up. All right, my hands are pretty much directly under my eyes, okay? My fingers are pointing forward. And when I go down, I want you to feel like your elbows stay tucked close to your torso and then up. So see how close my elbows are to my torso? They're not way in, but they're at about a 45-degree angle, and then you push up. This is the problem, guys. I see people doing this wrong, okay? So they get in the correct starting position, their hands are pointing forward, and then they do this. Their elbows flare way out. See that? I want them to be more in here, okay? So when your elbows flare out, you're putting a lot more of the weight on your triceps and less on your chest. And your triceps are not nearly as big a muscle. So we want to distribute the weight amongst as many different muscle groups as possible when we're doing the push-up. You'll be able to do more. It'll make you effectively stronger because you're using more muscles to push your body up and down. And what we want to do, guys, is it's a compound movement, meaning there's multiple muscle groups that are involved when we do push-ups, and multiple joints are involved. So it's a great upper body exercise, but we're primarily targeting our chest. But what a lot of guys don't realize is you're getting a lot of work on your triceps when you're doing push-ups. You're also working the front part of your shoulders. And to a lesser extent, when you squeeze and push down, you're working some of your lats, okay? So tons of muscles are getting involved when you're doing a push-up, you know, when you're doing it the correct way. Now, finally, if you get to the point where these traditional push-ups are getting fairly easy, when I say fairly easy, at least 15 reps nonstop, okay? Some of you guys will be able to knock out, you know, 20 or 30 nonstop. You can graduate to a more difficult. So remember, if your head is elevated, it takes some of the weight off of your upper body, puts it on your feet, makes it easier. But what happens if your feet get elevated? Now you're taking your weight off your legs, transferring it to your upper body. It makes a push-up harder. So here we go. If we do a foot elevated push-up, okay, so my feet are higher than my head and my hands, okay. Now when I do a push-up, it's harder than doing it completely horizontal. But the technique is the same. I don't want my elbows going flaring out like this. All right, that makes me real weak. So I want my elbows at about a 45-degree angle to my torso. And then that's how you do it. Now, it's one thing to just look at the video and watch me and go, okay, Mark says 45-degree angle. But when you're doing it by yourself, how the hell do you know if your elbows are close to your side and not flaring out? I want you to do some real quick, simple experiments. And basically, you'll solve your own problem if you're doing the incorrect form. So, get down in your push-up position, okay? Intentionally do bad form. So when you go down, make sure your elbows flare out, okay? And then push up. And then the next time, try to keep your elbows close to your side and push up. And then find kind of the in-between. So you got this real close to your side. Oh, You got way out. Ugh. And you got kind of in between. Ooh. All right. So experiment. You only have to do one push-up, all right, with each incorrect form, all right? So just do one with your elbows wide, one with your elbows in real close, and one with your elbows at about a 45-degree angle. And you will immediately be able to feel the difference. And the 45-degree angle push-up, the correct push-up, will just naturally feel easier because you're using more of your muscles in a more basically effective manner from a physics standpoint. It just naturally makes you stronger because of the mechanics of your form. All right, thankfully I'm standing back up again. It gets kind of old shooting these videos when I'm on the ground almost the entire video. It's much more fun to talk to you guys standing up. So that is the progression, especially for all you guys that are having a hard time doing push-ups or just starting off, or maybe you're really, really overweight and you're trying to both lose the body fat and build muscle. This is a great way to do it. And this is a great way to do it if you don't want to go to the gym. If you don't have a lot of equipment at home, all right? You can use your own body weight to do a lot of exercises. But some guys have got too much body weight, right? And so this is a way to get around it. So I showed you several different ways to do push-ups, from easiest to hardest. Hopefully, all right, you guys got something good out of it. And then remember, experiment with the position of your elbows when you're going up and down through the range of motion, okay? Because you're gonna feel it differently. In some ways aren't gonna feel particularly good, especially if you have some bad shoulders, all right? So I think if you got bad shoulders, make sure you're keeping those elbows relatively tucked to your side, okay? I saw a friend of mine, he's about 10 years older than me, and he's super strong and super fit, and we were doing a push-up contest against a bunch of young guys that were like 30, 40 years younger. and he was doing push-ups this way, all right? He's big and strong, but he could only do 10 or 12 push-ups because he was doing them wrong, okay? You get those elbows in here, and if he did that, he could have done twice as many push-ups just because using the correct form literally makes them easier. Anyway, enough of push-ups. Please do us a favor, hit that like button below, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with some of your buddies, because you guys have a ton of friends that would benefit from this YouTube channel. I want you to help us spread the good word. And then finally, come on guys, if you want to be able to do push-ups and increase the numbers, you got to stick with it and never give up on yourself.